Hey, Scott from Aristocob.com here.
And Seth from SethMarkwood.com.
Together, the three of us, we are Markwood Men's Breakfast Club. Welcome once again. Good morning, boy.
Good morning, Homer.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's still really good to be back.
Yes, it is.
Taking a break, and it's nice to be back at it.
Yeah. You're looking thinner. Are you thinner than the last, let's see, December when I saw you last?
Yes. Yes. But yes. Before we get into that, let's pack our pipe.
Smoke some tobacco.
That's right. So this is Boswell's Black Jack from Tony. Still smoking through duplicate tobaccos we were sent during Tobacco Advent. That will be for the next few weeks, still yet to come.
I'm going to smoke this in my Cobbit Dwarf. You know something about the Cobbits that has been a quiet change? When these were introduced with a vulcanized rubber stem on them, or Missouri Meerschaum calls them bits, the mouthpiece. And they had big trouble keeping these in stock and getting them from Italy. So they are slowly transitioning from the vulcanized rubber over to acrylic. This one happens to be rubber. I am so on the fence between those two materials. I don't like the way vulcanized rubber oxidizes and tastes, and I like the way the acrylic tastes, if you will, has no taste, but acrylic is tough on the teeth, I find. So I would say if there were ever a pipe series that I would consider putting a softie on it, you know, the rubber rubber tips, probably is going to be the Cobbits. I tend, even though these pipes were never meant to be clenched, I find myself, when I'm smoking these from time to time, letting go, and it's not the right kind of pipe to clench, so I'm going to put some softies on mine now.
Smart.
Yeah.
I'm smoking a clay pipe that Homer said, hey, you want to smoke a clay pipe? I said, sure. I don't know that I've ever smoked a clay pipe.
Don't break my clay pipe.
So he said, put as much heat into it as I can.
Smoke it like a freight train. What he is going to find here is clay is like smoking in glass. There's corn cob absorbs some heat. The corn cob, because of the way the interior is charred over, that contributes to the way it smokes, but also a little bit of the way it tastes. This you get with a clay pipe, totally unadulterated taste of the tobacco. You're tasting that tobacco like you would have never tasted it before. There are some people that when they are taste testing tobaccos will only test them in a clay pipe. But they have their own challenges, but you find that out. Not the least of which is they can get warm.
Well, I know that last part, and so to combat that, I packed it tighter than I normally do.
Really?
Yeah, because I normally smoke with a fairly light pack, which can be quite hot. Even a corn cob, I get some good heat, and so I packed a little bit tighter to maybe help offset that a little bit.
I'm gonna sneeze again.
I
tend to I tend to pack my cobs tighter than a briar pipe because I don't smoke cobs with filters, and most of the ones I smoke were made to have a filter in them, and so they're kind of an open draw. And I find that by packing them a little bit tighter, they smoke more like they would if I had a filter in them.
So, Homer asked about health, weight. We kind of teased last week that something we we're going to talk about. So, for me, through the month of December, I absolutely plateaued. I ended the month 0.2 pounds higher than I started it, and this was not because of cheating or anything else. I do think I didn't cheat. I stuck to keto all the way through every single day. I do think that it probably was attributed to not restricting calories as much. I didn't pay as much attention to that, and so I wasn't doing one meal a day. Was probably eating more calories, than I had before.
Do you try to do one meal a day, or does it just happen that way?
Sometimes, yes.
Being satiated.
Yeah, sometimes it's both. During the work week, I try to do one meal a day, because, especially when I'm paying attention to trying to come in at a calorie goal, I find it's easier to do that because I have the one meal that's bigger than any one meal I would have had, but it's not as big as 2 meals would have been if I had lunch and dinner, and I feel full. And then I'm just not hungry during the day. It's kind of nice to not have to worry about taking a lunch and saving a ton of money by not eating out during the workday like I had been before. When I'm at home, I tend to fall from that just because it's easier to be eating food with the family.
Are your kids eating keto?
No.
Are they eating the meals that you're making for yourself?
When I am eating keto, I'm usually cooking my own meals, and it's just for me. When Allison is eating keto too, more often than not, she's cooking meals for the whole family. And so those meals tend to be keto meals, but our kids are not eating keto. So they may have those in addition to some fruit or dessert or something. Still trying to get rid of Halloween candy. And so they'll have that. When she's not doing keto, and she hadn't through most of Christmas and kind of comes and goes, they'll have pizza and I'm cooking sausages or steak or something just for me. So it kind of depends. If I'm doing a bigger family meal, they're eating predominantly keto food. If I'm cooking for the whole family.
Have you noticed a change in your tastes? And what I mean by that in particular, because I've noticed in me a change. I like candy. I like chocolate in particular, and I knew that I had to watch because chocolate's got a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
So I started buying the higher cacao percentage, the darker chocolate, and I'm now, when I do eat a piece of chocolate, and a couple times a week, I'll still eat a little chunk of chocolate. I'm up in the 80s now, 80 percentile, and that would have made me puke before because it has so little sugar in it.
Right.
But now it's plenty sweet, which is surprising to me.
I found the few times that I have had something that has sugar, it will knock you over. So I can tell now without question if they give me a regular Coke in a drive-thru, and because it is just so sweet. So yes, generally though, I'm not drawn to sweet things as much as... Actually, I take that back. I'm more drawn to sweet things now than I was pre-keto. Pre-keto...
That's just the opposite of what you just said.
I know. No. Pre-keto, I wasn't much of a sweets person. Now, I find myself at the end of the day eating something that is a keto sweet. So it's a keto dessert. So it doesn't have sugar in it. It's artificial sweetener in it. But I do find myself craving or wanting something sweet in a way that I never did before.
Interesting.
But the thing that I'm having that's sweet is artificially sweetened. So
okay. I also had a couple pound bump through Christmas, and kind of like you, I was trying not to cheat or not trying to cheat. I wasn't saying to myself, well, I'm going to eat this pie come hell or high water. But I did find myself eating more carbohydrates than I would normally have. And I put on a couple pounds, which I've now taken off, thank goodness, and back on track. So,
yeah, I'm down 15 pounds from December. I lost it real quick once I got strict again. And in addition to that, in mid-December, I started exercising. I joined a gym. I now know what everybody complains about in January about people coming to the gym, having started there, and I'd gone, 6 or 7 times before January 1 rolled around. And everybody's there. It's crazy. So I've started doing that. I ran for the first time in 15 or 20 years.
Wow. On
Yeah,
on a treadmill?
No, I would not do that. I would the belt on the treadmill I think would be unsturdy. But no, I was walking outside with Ender, and he was on his bike. We were in a parking lot and just kind of doing laps, and I decided to race him and ran. It was the weirdest sensation. Raced him a couple of times. I probably ran probably a third of a mile.
Well, did you feel winded, or did you feel?
I mean, I couldn't run for long. It was more sprinting, but and it was weird. The sensation to my body was just it felt very bizarre. No, I felt really good doing it. I would stop and would take a walking lap, and then run, and did some jogging then as well.
Good for you.
But yeah, so I've been doing the elliptical at the gym, been doing treadmill, been walking, usually 2.5, 3 miles each time. And I've come to quite enjoy it, actually. This week I did yoga at home on Sunday, went to the gym Tuesday, and then our plans for Wednesday opened up, so I went to the gym again on Wednesday.
Is it getting back down to where there's fewer people?
Already a little bit, yeah. Although the best day so far has been on a Friday. I went on a Friday afternoon, and it was pretty dead. It was just the weightlifters that were there. The people that clearly go to the gym often were there on Friday. They all know that.
The lunks? Do they call them there at your gym? Lunks? Do they have the alarm?
They do have the alarm. No lunks allowed. Yeah, I'm at Planet Fitness. And so with the exercise, and there are a couple of reasons for that, for increasing the exercise, but I'm finding that I enjoy it. Alice and I have talked about doing daily exercise videos at home, maybe T25, which is an exercise program. I've been doing yoga, the Diamond Dallas Page DDP yoga at home. One of the reasons for this increase is because I have an upcoming trip to Phoenix, and one of the activities we'll be doing, it's a business trip, we'll be doing a scavenger hunt hike in Phoenix, and so I want to be prepared for that, so I'm not holding everybody back on the team and not totally winded through that. And then the other reason is in a month I'll be going to Ireland and the UK, and so I want to get down as much as I can so that the flight itself is comfortable and the traveler is comfortable. Everything is smaller in Europe, so I'm trying to prepare for that as well.
That is true.
So one of the things that we want to talk about that we found that has helped me do some tracking with this stuff as I've been exercising is we found a fitness tracker that we really like. I bought it, and Homer was not far behind.
Of course, we bought them right after we bought our Markwood Men's Breakfast Club watches.
That's right. And so this is a fitness tracker. Oops. It's the Huawei Honor 4 fitness tracker. It does a whole slew of things. It can track it tracks your steps. It tracks your heart rate if you want it to. It can synchronize with your phone via Bluetooth and tell you the weather, the date, time, of course. It tracks your sleep.
If you got a message on your phone,
you get vibrations and messages sent to your wrist. When your phone rings, you can choose to silence your phone or decline the call from your wrist. There's a lot of things that it can do, and the price point is right. It competes with a Fitbit at about a third the price. It does almost everything an Apple Watch can do, and I've had mine for now a month and a half.
You can't get apps on this like an Apple Watch.
You can't get apps, but the Apple Watch, it does
the things you would have done with an Apple Watch.
It does 90% of what you would do with an Apple Watch. The one limitation it has, you can't play music on it like an Apple Watch. The other thing it doesn't do is you can't send messages outbound like you can on an Apple Watch. But for most of what you would do with an Apple Watch, it has those features in it.
It's a fraction of the cost of an Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
It does have 3 faces on it that you can choose. I've been sporting the analog face. Here, you want to take this up there?
Sure.
On mine. And the sleep tracking thing has been quite interesting on it. And you can switch the faces on here like super easy. Here, I'll switch my face.
Oh, it's even easier than that.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
let me switch my face.
Okay, but it's even easier than that.
There. I've switched now. I've got the same face as Seth. That tells you how many steps you've taken in the day. It tells you the temperature, if it's synced with
Weather
your,
in the corner.
if it's synced with your watch or your phone. Gives me the date.
I have found that sleep tracking has been interesting because it gives you, in the app,
It's 26 degrees outside right now.
in the app it gives you really great data on your light sleep, your heavy sleep, your REM sleep, and then it tells you if you're outside of the normal range in any of those things, and then gives you tips on how to get within the normal range. So for me, oftentimes my light sleep is too much. My deep sleep is okay, but then it says that it's not consistent. So my sleep is kind of broken up. It gives tips on how to correct that. Most of them common sense, lower the caffeine, maybe less blue light before bed, some of those things, but I still find it useful to have that. I love the notification feature, being able to check with your phone in your pocket, your wrist vibrates, and being able to check and see from your wrist, oh, is this something I need to deal with now, or can I ignore it? It's really cool.
You mean like
Yeah.
It's got a couple of messages there.
Yeah, I think it's really, really neat. And so, but yeah, keto's been going great. I'm down to my lowest weight in 15 years, maybe. So I started at 527 pounds. I'm down to 385 pounds. So I've lost 142 pounds in a year and a half.
Fantastic.
132 pounds since last
Fantastic.
April. And so I'm still pushing downward as quickly as I can before this trip.
I forget how far I'm down now. I'll tell you how far I'm down.
And so, everybody says it, but I hope that I hope that you can hear it from me and believe it. If I can do it, you can do it. I've not done anything special or magical other than having the desire to stop living the way things were and not letting myself talk myself out of doing that. There's nothing special to it. I've now talked to a lot of people that have said, "Oh, keto seems to be working so great. I'll try. I'll try that." But it's clear in talking to them that they're not in a place where they really want to, and so it's not a surprise when it fails. It's not a magic bullet. Just like anything else, any of the other times I have tried and failed could have been a time that I had tried and succeeded if I had the desire to really do what it took. And so this was just the right time. And so my encouragement to you in this is not to let past failures keep you from future successes.
Yeah. I'm down 90 pounds.
That's
90
awesome.
pounds. Now, it's been over 2 years, right? Because I started 2 years ago when I went to see my knee doctor about my knees being as bad as they are. And ironically, the last time I ran was about 3 years ago. We were at a park, and I'm across a lake and around the lake from my wife and her sister. And my wife falls. I mean, she took a bad spill. A guy on a bike went past her, and I ran to get to her side, and I couldn't. And part of it was I was so out of shape. Part of it was my knees were destroyed at that point, and they were worse than I thought they were. And that was sort of the beginning for me of trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do here? And one of the things was my doctor said for the surgery he wants me to have, and I've said this before here, I cannot be obese. So what does that mean? He says, well, that means at least 100 pounds off. I'm 90 pounds, almost at that point where I'm going to go back in now and let the doctor know I'm ready for us to start this
That's awesome.
the plan. So, but
Yeah.
keto, and for me it's more low carb than keto. I know the difference between the two. I'm not eating enough fat. I'm eating too much protein, but I am eating low carb, avoiding the carbohydrates. And carbs put fat on me like nobody's business. I mean, they just do.
Yeah, when I ran Allison, my wife was just, her jaw dropped. She said, I've never seen you do that. Never, ever. And we've been married 10 years, friends for many years before that. Never seen it. Didn't happen. So it was weird.
As far as when I was last this weight, I don't know. I'm going to have to see if my doctor has records, but well beyond 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well beyond 20 years. Probably closer to 30 years since I've been this weight. It's kind of wild. People keep asking me if I feel better, and about 10 pounds ago, I finally said, you know what? I do. I wasn't.
Yeah.
All the rest of that time, it's nice to be lighter. It's kind of cool to, fit into smaller jeans and to not have to get a seatbelt extender on airplanes. It's been over a year since I've had to ask for a seatbelt extension. But like I said, about 10 pounds ago, suddenly I realized when somebody asked me that, it's like, yeah, I do. I feel better. Sleeping better.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm not quite as achy as I was because I'm not putting so much stress. I was wearing a leg brace on my leg for almost 2 years, and I've stopped wearing the leg brace because I'm now to the point where the leg brace was, what do they call that? It was offloading. It was taking weight from my thighs and transferring it past my knee and onto my calves. And it's awkward and painful, and was glad to get rid of it. So,
That's great.
yeah. It also allowed me to put even smaller pants on because I went to a smaller size and couldn't put them on because the legs were smaller than the brace.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, people ask that question, and now I think, probably there are some things that I notice, but the things that I notice being different are more the lifestyle things, like you mentioned, being able to fit in things. I mean, for the longest time, going to a restaurant was scary because if they have a chair, if you have to sit on the patio, almost every patio has chairs with armed seats, and I couldn't fit in them. Period. Now, in the last 5 months, 6 months, I haven't found one that I can't fit into. And it's becoming more and more comfortable to do that.
We were talking about crossing our legs.
Yeah.
Used to be, I would have to cross my legs with my ankle on my knee, right? Superman spread. Now, my legs can almost touch each other when I cross my legs, which is really weird. My brother-in-law, his uncle, is like really super trim, and we always laugh at him because he can sit and cross his legs like a supermodel. He can wrap his foot around behind his other leg. I don't aspire to that, but it's always been so weird to see that and realize, oh my gosh, I am now far more comfortable
closer
because
to that.
I'm not having to lift my knee all the way up like this to cross my legs. I can pull it over a little bit and put my knees under less stress.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
Really
I
cool.
noticed that. No, I find myself crossing my knees much more often than I did before. Yeah, but I mean, for me, the biggest change is more mental than anything. I feel good because I've convinced myself that I feel good. I'm motivated to exercise, and I mean, going to the gym, doing the exercise has all been my decision. When I started this, I laughed at people who said, you could lose more weight if you exercise. Nah, I don't need that. I was ascribing to pendulets. I'm in hibernation. Let's get the weight off and just focus on that. And now to the point where I actually have a desire to be doing more with my body, and I recognize that only in contrasting where I was do I feel like a skinny man, right? Because 400 pounds is not skinny by any means. I feel super skinny compared to where I was because I think I am compared to where I was. And so, because with that perspective, it's much more exciting to be more active.
Okay. So we've gone much longer than we were planning on, and I have one more thing to say that I don't think makes sense to do another episode with.
Okay.
Boy's wife taught me how to make carnitas in an InstantPot. Pressure cooker, electric pressure cooker. And I love carnitas, and I rarely get them when I go out to dinner because a lot of places just don't know how to make them. Carnitas are normally pork shoulder that is cooked in fat. One method, very low temperature. One method that they cook duck and things like that is called confit. And it's very similar to the way they make duck confit. And carnitas made in any other method tend to be very dry and not very moist or soft. And these, his wife had us over for dinner, and those carnitas were fantastic. I said, so how'd you do this? She made them in her pressure cooker, and so I invited myself over to watch her make them one day, and then made them at our house, and they were also fantastic. And I bought the half pork butt the way she had done, and then we found out that my daughter and her family would be joining us for dinner, so I went out and bought another half pork butt, and I have a much larger InstantPot, and they were good. I basically doubled the recipe, and away we went. Well, this week I went to make it again, this time again with a full, basically 10-pound pork butt, and it wasn't great. It was nice and soft and moist and everything, but the flavor just wasn't there. And I realized it's because I basically was doubling the pork without doubling the ingredients. And so Jandy said, well, just, add more salt. Now that they're cooked, just add more salt as you eat them. Lots of other spices and things in it, but it is absolutely true. You cannot make up for seasonings that are left out during the cooking process. You can't add enough of those after the fact to get that flavor that you want. But another thought came to mind, and I'm thinking I want to do a cook-off with your wife.
She said that. She's prepared for it. In fact, I bought today, not realizing we still had half a pork shoulder. I bought a full pork shoulder.
Did you?
From Costco today. Yeah.
So my question that we need to establish is, do you know anybody who has a InstantPot? Anybody else that has an InstantPot?
Mm-hmm.
We need to borrow it.
I know 2 people.
We need to borrow it because
3 people.
Whichever size it happens to be, I want us to both make in the same size pot because I don't want
size?
Mine's larger. Mine's like 10 quarts and yours is 8, or mine's 8 and yours is 6.
Yeah.
So we need to get one more so we can make sure we have the exact same size. We'll take a pork butt, cut it a full butt in half, so we have the same muscles. We'll put the same.
Will you have the same muscles?
It depends on where you cut it.
Right.
Okay, if the muscles are all going this way, you cut it this way, right?
You just get 2 halves.
No, you get one whole. You cut it in half where you're cutting the length this way. You're cutting this way. You're cross cutting. I want to do it exactly the same, but one difference to find out whether or not that's truly a difference. So we're going to do this. We'll do a cook-off, and I think we're going to post that on the Aristagrub channel, which hasn't gotten any love in a long time, and we'll let you know here when we do that. But I think it's interesting. But that Instant Pot, sous vide, those have all been fun ways of cooking protein and cooking it fast. Those carnitas take 30 minutes. Carnitas made the traditional method take about 8 hours.
And they're good.
30 minutes.
They're good.
That's amazing. And they are very good.
Yeah.
I mean, really, okay, it's a 2-hour process when you talk about you brown the meat after you slice it up,
right.
Then you pressure cook it, and then you actually broil it to crisp it up a
You've
little
been doing
bit.
a lot of those things, though, plus.
Oh, yeah,
8 hours.
that's exactly right. So, anyway,
so
be watching for that.
Instant Pot is great. Sous vide is great. You bring that up. I wasn't going to mention it, but need to right now, real quick. There was a comment on our sous vide episode. So we did an episode of Markman's Breakfast Club where we cooked some sausages in the sous vide. And we filmed going to Walmart, picking out the sausages, picking out what we were going to find there, talking about some of the stuff, yada, yada, yada. Going through the whole process, expecting that none of you are
Interested.
have a sous vide or whatever. Got a comment the other day that someone said it shouldn't take this long to get to the recipe. they were upset that we didn't jump right into the recipe to show how we cooked, because I think the title is sous vide sausages or something, sous vide hot sausages. And not realizing they came for the sous vide. They came for the sous vide, not realizing it was just one of our normal episodes.
That's funny. And the recipe is we heated up some sausages.
That's right.
That's it.
176 for 20 minutes.
All right. Hey, thanks for sticking with us today. Hope you make it a great day. Leave us a comment below. Give us a thumbs up. We love knowing that you're out there. And we'll see you again next week.
Clay pipe. Success.
Sweet.
Don't get too hot.
Oh, good tobacco, by the way.
That's right. All right. Goodbye.